It's one of the worst forms of domestic violence.
We're seeing lives lost, homes ruined.
He controlled what I wore, who I was friends with, the finances.
They weaken that victim down over a period of time.
You don't see any physical wounds, but the women are wounded mentally.
I just thought it was because he loves me.
It's only with hindsight Sheree knows the true danger of coercive control. She was just 16 when she thought she'd met her soulmate. The jealousy, manipulation and violence started soon after.
He was always yelling and screaming. If I wasn't wearing something that he liked, he'd make me change it. The physical abuse actually started 3 months into our relationship, and I remember being slapped across the face just for getting a phone call.
She would go on to experience 16 years of terrifying abuse by the father of her 2 kids.
He had threatened to throw acid in my face so that if I ever did decide to leave him, that nobody would want me because I'd be so ugly with 2 kids. I was worthless. I was nothing. When you hear that every day for so long, that's who you think you are. I have tried to take, my life a few times because of it.
Sheree is a survivor of physical abuse and coercive control, a pattern of insidious behaviour we're hearing much more about. The aim is to hurt, scare, intimidate, threaten or control someone. And it's linked to almost every domestic violence death.
We had no idea about that. Everyone kept saying, oh, it's typical coercive control. What is coercive control? Never heard of it, don't know what you're talking about. And that's why we have been fighting for 4 years now to let people know how bad it is.
The horrific murder of Hannah Clark and her 3 children by her estranged husband in 2020 led to a crackdown on coercive control.
She's my girl, my only daughter. And to lose her like that, in such a shocking way, yeah, it breaks my heart, you know, every day. I struggle.
It's now illegal in New South Wales to use abusive behaviours towards a current or former intimate partner with the intent to coerce or control them. Perpetrators can face up to 7 years jail. Queensland will soon follow New South Wales with similar laws.
It's not love, it's coercive control.
Police in New South Wales have been specially trained to spot the signs of coercive control.
The amount of domestic violence incidents that happen over a 24-hour period is huge. The scene's normally quite hostile and heated.
Here in Sydney's St George area, up to 45% of their workload is tackling domestic violence.
We have a dedicated team that go out to do our AVO compliance checks, victim focus, make sure everyone's okay, but we also focus on the offenders.
Part of police training has been listening to the lived experiences of victims and survivors like the Clarks.
There's so many red flags that Hannah had, and of course that is the ideal thing for them to see.
Traditionally, when police officers get called to a domestic incident, our officers have investigated the incident that they've been called for. Now we're trained to look into the background of what might have occurred in a relationship beforehand and proactively ask about things like coercive control.
One of the biggest hurdles is the public's lack of understanding of non-physical violence.
The police role is going to be critical in eliciting that kind of information from our victims. They may not be aware that what is occurring in their daily lives is coercive control.
Coercive control can be difficult to articulate, let alone prove. Abusive behaviours can be anything from restricting access to money, friends or family, to using tracking devices to monitor someone's movements. The search for evidence requires meticulous work by an already stretched police force.
I'm not saying it's easy, but there's often evidence that you don't realise exists. Statements from family and friends, forensic evidence, it may well be financial records, which supports the victim's versions of events.
New South Wales Police receive 1 domestic violence-related call every 4 minutes. But the average victim experiences 27 harmful episodes before they pick up the phone to police.
It takes so much strength for a woman to go to the police station to report something, and then if you're not believed, that will crush you inside. But it's also the shame and the embarrassment of having to go and tell somebody that I'm being abused. I didn't go to the police station because I was scared of the consequence of what my abuser's going to do to me when he finds out.
I wish the victims knew that we're genuinely here to help them, and that by coming to us there are so many things that we can do or put into place to make them and their kids safer.
The new law only applies to abusive behaviour that's happened after the 1st of July. Police are investigating 38 reports of coercive control, and as yet, no charges have been laid.
We're starting to take statements now and we're starting to paint the picture, but it'll take a period of time, or a pattern of behaviour over a period of time, before we will start charging with coercive controlling offences.
It's been 9 years since Sheree and her kids escaped the relationship that almost cost her her life.
Breaking that cycle, it was something that I needed to do from them. They're both thriving, have amazing lives.
She's now an advocate for other survivors, and while she supports new laws, she says they're just one piece of a very complex puzzle.
Until it's proven successful, I don't believe that a lot of people are going to go to the police. We need to put more money into refuges, into frontline workers, those sorts of things.
It's not just a policing issue. You can't arrest your way out of something like this. Society has a very big role to play.
Should not still be happening. I'd hoped Hannah was the last.
We need to stand up now and make a point and say, no, enough's enough.
Police are not resourced well enough to actually police this. This is part of the problem. I mean, they're getting a call every 4 minutes and they've got to do all their other work as well. But I would say, is someone going to ask Anthony Albanese and Peter Dutton this week why this is not a federal law? Why is it happening state by state?
Yeah, well, because if Hannah Clark's parents are actually driving this change, they're extraordinary people to be pushing this forward. It is a very insidious form of abuse and very hard to prove, as we've heard. But I wonder, just knowing that it is a criminal act to do these types of things, to act in this way, will make people change their minds and also put it in the heads of people who are suffering.
Some of these bastard men won't change their behaviour, whether it's illegal or not.
Well,
sadly.
if you do need support, you can always contact Lifeline on 13 11 14 or 1 800 RESPECT on 1 800 737 732.